They're getting drunk. They're getting drunk. They're a bunch of idiots getting drunk, talking about conspiracy theories. There's really not much more to it than that. You're listening to Drunk Theory.
We're ready.
Ready?
Drunk as
Sure.
shit.
So today, Ryan's having a time.
Maybe struggling a little bit.
So this week we are talking about money, just anything that involves money.
Dollar bills, y'all.
Kelly, what are we drinking?
We are drinking
Everything.
silver.
Lime juice.
Shut up.
Sorry.
We're drinking silver coin margaritas. So to make this, you're going to need 1.5 ounces of silver tequila, just whatever you like, 1/2 ounce of Cointreau, and 1.5 ounces of lemon juice, 1.5 ounces of lime juice. You're going to shake all that shit together, pour it into a rocks glass.
They're being nerds in the background now.
There's a whole bag of resistors right here, and they're blue with all kinds of lines on them. And the lines tell you the resistance if you know what you're doing and you're really good, and I don't. But apparently there's, like, a system to it, and I don't know it, but that's cool as shit. I read that the other day in, like, a solder and electronics subreddit. It was cool as shit.
Get those nerds! Nerd! Nerd!
Who wants to go first?
Let Ryan go first.
I've got so much I need to not go first.
Y'all want me to go
'Cause
first?
remember, I
Because
have-
mine's not going to be long and mine's dumb as hell.
Okay.
Alright, so since we're talking about money, the first thing that came to my mind was like Nigeria, because there's always like the Nigerian princes trying to give me money or whatever the hell those people are doing. I decided to do animals from Nigeria that steal fuck tons of money from the government for no reason. So Nigeria is the 7th most populous country in the world with more than 200 million people, 34.5 million goats, 22.1 million sheep, and 13.9 million cattle. All right, so in 2018, a snake swallowed 36 million Naira. Is that what we decided?
Yeah.
Which is the equivalent of about $100,000. So there's a sales clerk. She works for the Nigerian Examination Board, which collects exam fees for colleges. This immediately brought to mind ITT Tech. I'm assuming that this is their version of scam schools.
But state-sponsored.
ITT Tech. Yes.
From the university.
That's
So
great. We might as well do it state-sponsored so everybody gets a piece.
apparently they got audited and they were missing all this money. She got suspended after she told the auditors that a snake had come into her office and swallowed all of this money. She admitted that she had the money. She said that she kept the money in a safe. But she swears that a snake came into her office and swallowed all this money. Later, though, that same clerk said that she had never said that. She didn't know what the fuck these people were talking about. She said no one had ever even asked her about missing money. She didn't know that money was missing. She doesn't know why anybody's talking to her anyway. She's just a clerk, and fuck y'all's money. Yes.
I have a question. Do they make a safe that is snake-proof?
You would think that all
Safes
right?
would
be snake-proof.
Exactly. Shouldn't they not all be snake-proof?
But see, according to her, she never said that.
Even
so
like a
did she
even a
say-
simple like
See,
diary
I
you get
wanted
from.
it to be true so bad. They're like, maybe the dingo ate your baby. Like,
Oh yeah.
Like maybe a huge anaconda just ate all this
I
shit
wanted
really
it to
quickly.
be
It could
true.
be a thing.
This one and all of these that I'm about to read, except for one, there is no proof for, and I don't believe any of it. It's just people trying to get away with horse.
Yeah.
So
Or very hungry snakes.
in 2019, a gorilla swallowed 6.8 million Naira. That's roughly 19,000 US dollars. This is money that it was from the zoo, so this is like entrance fees or whatever from the zoo. So police said that all that they could confirm is that the money is missing. An AFP journalist visited the zoo and was told that there had never been a gorilla at that zoo. And that zoo had been open for half a century now. But the CEO swears up and down at first that a gorilla ate it. It doesn't say where the money was, but it was somewhere accessible to a gorilla that was never there. Anyway, so later the CEO stated that the gorilla thing wasn't true. At 3 a.m. on Sunday, June 9th of 2019, armed robbers stormed the zoo and looted 7 of the offices. This case is still under investigation right now.
You sure it wasn't the animals?
No. Apparently not.
Seems like people in Nigeria are like the worst liars.
They just like make up shit that don't make no sense. So, in February of 2018, a senator stated, and I didn't do the US dollar math on this, but he stated that 70 million Naira that was given to the Northern Forum of Senators had been swallowed by monkeys at his farm.
Is it a monkey farm?
He just lives on a farm and for whatever reason has monkeys, and they ate 70 million Naira.
So random monkey, money-eating monkeys.
He had been accused by this Forum of Senators of misusing the funds that had been given to them. And so this was the excuse that he gave.
Never would he do
He was
that.
like, for whatever reason, he took the money to his personal farm, and there
For
it was,
safekeeping.
There it was.
Threw it out in the yard.
There it was.
Do you know how many
eaten
people
by
in the
monkeys.
city want to steal that money?
All of them. April 2020. 50 goats ate 50 billion Naira. That is equivalent
like
to $129 million.
That's 120 times more than
This
before.
money belonged to the Nigerian federal government and was supposed to go for a relief fund.
That's
I
tons
don't know
of
what
money.
relief fund. I'm thinking
Tons.
probably had something to do with COVID
Tons of money.
because of, when it was.
My question is, how has everybody in this country not just gone bankrupt because the
Well, they
animals are
have,
just
right?
eating all their fucking money?
like, I don't understand what they're doing, but so this story about the 50 goats was circulated online. There were no real details given. There was no sign that any government had lost $50 billion or that they had blamed it on goats. But apparently a fuck ton of news outlets ran this story. So I don't know if that was true or not. It's probably not. This one, however, is true, and I saw the photos and the Facebook post, and it's fucking hilarious. So in February of 2018, an elephant appears at a bank immediately after the money van leaves. Now, they come and they pick up the money and they take it somewhere, but they also get money brought to them. This van was bringing the money to them. And then out of nowhere, here's a fucking elephant. There's pictures of this elephant. I've seen it. This elephant was there, but nobody knows where it came from. But the manager of that bank claims that the elephant stole 125 million Naira. Again, I didn't do the math or whatever. Got pictures of the elephant. Where the fuck did this elephant come from? And how did he get in the fucking bank to steal the money? But so they posted it on Facebook and everything, this bank did. And they're like, yo, this elephant just stole a bunch of our money. So it's where's that? It's like First National Bank of Nigeria or whatever is what it's called. That bank's mascot is an elephant, which is a little bit weird.
Yeah.
But, so they posted on Facebook. They posted the pictures. They're like, hey, it's all money. Well, then the people that do business with that bank started freaking out, and we're like calling them and going down there and like, hey, that elephant ate all my money. So they spent like 2 weeks having to reassure people that their money was fine. Like,
Well, then who did it eat?
I mean, I don't know.
But also, elephants are not the fastest creatures on the earth. Like,
Well, I guess maybe they were dumbfounded. Maybe they're like, wait a minute.
I probably would.
That elephant's just taking all our money. Hey, are you watching that? You see what's happening?
I mean, at first I would be
Just put
dumbfounded
it on
too,
Facebook.
but then I would immediately be like, hey, that thing just took $100 billion. Like, probably need to stop that.
Yeah, but I don't know. Elephants can fuck you up if they're mad. And if he wants that money, I'm just going to
Yeah,
let
but
him
they
have
can-
that money, right?
I mean,
Find an
That's
elephant.
what insurance is for.
They could tranquilize it.
Who just has elephant tranquilizers?
The fucking zoo. Well, never mind. They don't have money
This
for
is
it.
at the bank. This is at the bank.
I know this is at the bank,
Oh, they should call the zoo.
but then the zoo doesn't have money because all of the fucking gorilla ate
Yeah,
all
the
theirs.
gorilla ate all their
So they can't afford tranquilizers.
that's the only ones I have for Nigeria. I do have 2 other ones that are just hilarious about animals stealing shit. So,
All right.
in Thailand, I did not write down a date on this because, you know, that's how I did my research. But in Thailand, a monkey stole a smartphone from somebody. Just like ran up and took his fucking phone, right? Well, so it's like him and his friend are sitting there. So his friend is like, I'm going to video call that phone. It's going to freak the fucking monkey out. He'll drop the phone. We can go over there and fucking get it. Right? No big deal. So he video calls the phone. The monkey fucking answered it. The monkey answered the fucking phone. And then it sent the bye-bye waving emoji and hung up. The guy screenshotted it. Like, this fucking happened. And so then people are like, maybe animals are smarter than we fucking think they are, right? Like, cause...
Well, monkeys in general are incredibly smart.
But would they know to do emoji? Like, they know how to work phones?
It would depend on where that monkey came from.
And I do feel like monkeys would be like little smart-ass motherfuckers.
Well, they would. And then, so I was reading, and there's more than one article about this, and one of them said, this supports the theories that some species are actually smarter than humans, but don't want to work or pay taxes, etc., so they play stupid. And I thought that was amazing. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably exactly what that is. Last one. In 2012, a band of monkeys in India learned to understand train platform announcements. They would hang out near the train station and, you know, they would announce and it'd be like, train whatever so-and-so is going to be stopping at platform 15. They would run down and gather at platform 15. And when people got off the train, they'd steal their shit. They're stealing their purses and their bags and just whatever they could fucking get. It got so bad that, like, the government of that town or whatever was offering a reward for anybody who could figure out how to fix this problem.
Oh, damn.
So, again, monkeys are smart as fuck.
And they're assholes.
And they're assholes, too, I guess.
I love it.
That's all I've got, though. So. I just don't understand why Nigerians are so bad at fucking lying. When they have, I mean, because when you think of Nigeria, all you think of is scams.
Right.
Is it really that they're bad at lying, or that they just know that nobody really gives a shit? So fuck it, we'll tell them the animals took it.
That could be a thing. Yeah, like
Because if nobody gives a shit,
they're just
why?
brazen now. They're just like, well, I'll tell you what happened. What happened was the duck fucking ate it.
If
Fuck
nobody,
you.
yeah,
Fuck you. I
if
mean,
nobody gives a shit, why come up with some elaborate story to it? Yeah,
the duck ate it. Prove it didn't. Like, I mean,
animals got it. Yeah, whatever.
I was just so wild, and that was just 5 of them. I mean, there's so many. And it's just like every time somebody gets accused of something, and it's usually some sort of government thing or,
Well,
you know, charity funds. Where'd it go? Oh, the monkeys took it.
Specifically in Africa, a lot of government officials and stuff have been known to be super corrupt.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
But they're corrupt everywhere, and like our people have never come out and been like, you know what had happened was.
The hippo ate it.
But,
We got no hippo.
I mean, they're corrupt everywhere, but over there, like, I've heard it's
And well, it would
super
have to
bad.
be because why was nobody questioned why the guy took all that money back to his farm? They questioned where the monkeys came from. And I'm like, I would be wondering why you've got the money at your personal house.
Yeah.
Right.
But no, let's talk about monkeys.
I guess it's my turn. So I'm gonna be doing mostly bank robberies, or robberies in general. A lot of banks though. But it will be people that did crimes while wearing some sort of super realistic, mostly silicone masks. Because I have 4 crimes, and like 3 of them bought the mask from the same
Ain't that the name of Snoop Dogg's wine?
guy.
Oh, it is something crumbs.
Huh? 4 crimes? Is it? Is it something like that? What?
Something.
What was that? Something like
13.
21 crimes? Shit, I don't know.
Murder was the case that they gave me, I know.
It's 187 grams.
19 crime.
19 crimes.
Well, I don't have 19, I've got 4, but All right, so masks have always been a thing. Usually they were a latex type foam dealio, which works but dries out. It doesn't look quite as realistic, super close up. And then a company called SPFX, they were the first one in California, started making hyper realistic masks. That was their description, and they took months to make. Usually they were based on a real person, and one of my stories have to do with that. So they based them on real people. He had multiple effects artists working on them. Individual hairs put in, they put freckles, they painted the whole thing, and like I said, over months of time they did it, and it was molded not just as the mask, but also to your face, so it would fit better. So the first person was a man from Hong Kong. Now, eventually it came out that he used a type of coyote, which, if y'all don't know what that is, coyote is a person that stinks someone into another country illegally. He was trying to get out of Hong Kong. Now, he said he wanted asylum because he did something, the government wanted to kill him. They have a crazy thing where if you talk against the government, they'll just take you and put you in a concentration camp and you disappear. So he bought one of these super realistic masks in October of 2010. He got a passport because apparently his family paid a whole bunch of money for him to get away. He bought a passport of a man that was 55 years his senior, so in his 60s, 70s. Bought this hyper-realistic old white man mask, and he's like a 20-year-old Asian dude. Got through the Hong Kong security people, got through all that, everything worked, and then the passenger behind him, the lady noticed, in front of me was like an old white guy, and then like halfway through the flight, 4 hours or so in, there was a young Asian dude in his seat. And I thought that was weird. And then the stewardess noticed when she brought him some food earlier in the day, he looked older, but his hands were really young because apparently he forgot to mess with his hands.
That's what I was thinking the whole time.
The
like,
first
his
thing,
hands.
exactly. He didn't do everything. He did part of it, but he didn't go far enough, right? So he gets all the way. He was going to Vancouver. He gets to fucking Canada, but gets like sidetracked at customs there. That make him take off the mask and figure out who he is, and then he admits that his family paid somewhere around $45,000 to this group of people that use these masks to get people through, and they had fake passports to get them to other countries, and it was a lot of people that needed political asylum. Like just right now, if you say you're from Taiwan, oh no, that's not its own country, that's China. You can't say that. Exact same thing. So he's trying to get out. Now, number 2 is even crazier. So this one might be my favorite. Same year, 2010, a man named Konrad Zirak, Polish immigrant, was in Cincinnati. He decided, I'm going to rob everything near me. Now, he ordered one of the same masks from SPFX, super realistic. He's a white Polish immigrant, and he ordered a mask of a black man, painted around his eyes, and did his hands, or I think he wore gloves, one or the other, so he couldn't be identified any way whatsoever, he thought. So he robbed 4 to 5 banks, I can't remember exactly, somewhere in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 banks, a credit union, which is like a bank, but like owned by the people that bank there, and a CVS randomly. For some reason, I guess he thought CVS would have a bunch of money. Yeah, exactly. That one is my favorite, just the random CVS. So he was a Polish immigrant, and he ordered a mask of a black man. Now, apparently, for some reason, the company that did it, the black man that they did it from was in Cincinnati. They arrested the man that it looked like. The person in the lineup picked the guy out. But on the very last bank robbery before the other 2, he had ink that exploded on the money. So his girlfriend, the only reason he got caught, his girlfriend went in the closet, saw the mask, and a whole bunch of money with the blue dye pack on it, and was like, holy shit, my boyfriend robbed somebody, because there's no reason you would have ink on money unless you rob someone. And she turned him in. Which, to me, I love you. I'm not going to turn you in. So, you know, maybe Kara's committed a bunch of crimes. Maybe I have. But we're not going to turn each other in. But this chick did it. So, you know, whatever. She turned him in. He got caught. And they found the $1,000 of bills with ink on it. And apparently, she turned him in. He went to court, got 25 years after they arrested the wrong man. They won't release the name of the man that got arrested or anything. The guy that made the mask won't say who it was. But it just so happens to be in the same city. And I think that's fucking hilarious that he picked.
So, hold on.
Like, he had a line of masks and he picked the only one that was in the city he was in. Your turn. What you got?
So, like, this guy just found a picture of a random black man?
No,
and was
he buys their likeness to make a mask and then sells them, and it just so happened
Who
that...
would agree to that?
Right?
Who the fuck? If some motherfucker came to me and was like, hey, man, I want to make your face into a mask and sell it to just anybody who wants it. Like,
A lot of people.
would you?
Yeah, sure.
You would sell your face?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
This is the early 2000s. This is a different time.
I don't give a shit what year
No.
it is.
Why? What's it gonna hurt?
Well,
Like,
they got arrested.
But that hasn't happened yet, so...
But I
That's
would
the whole
immediately
point.
think, why would
Would
somebody
you-
want to wear another face if it's not Halloween? They want to go rob some shit. Like,
But maybe it is for Halloween. You don't know whether, but maybe
But
it's a
nobody
movie.
wants to be me for
Right.
Halloween.
I mean...
Yeah.
I
No,
mean,
they want a
John
random.
Travolta.
They want a
Think
random
of-
face they know looks realistic because it's a real person, but it's just a person that nobody's seen from wherever. Oh, fucking Cincinnati.
I
Oh, okay, that'll work.
Just think about movies or TV shows, any of that kind of shit.
Yeah.
I'm not in any of those
No.
things. Like, there's no reason
Like,
anybody would
No,
ever
but
need my
I'm saying
face.
that's why there's a need for that industry, like cosplay, TV shows, any kind of media enterprise.
Mission Impossible.
I mean, I understand the need for masks.
Bad
Right, I
grandpa.
don't understand the need for Joe Blow from Cincinnati. I don't understand the need for his mask.
I'm with you.
Okay. Just making sure. You continue. I just...
And what if dude was just hard up for money and this company came along and said, hey, we'll give you $500 so you let us take a couple pictures.
I
and
bet
make-"
he regrets that shit now.
I bet he does too. Or if he could sue for that.
No, because he had to sign something.
Yeah.
Well, they probably just bought some stock images. They probably didn't seek him out and say, we want to make a mask of your face. It was probably just stock images that he had sold the rights to whatever company.
That could be a thing. That's
And
true.
then this...
Because a lot of times you don't think about the repercussions of that shit.
Yeah.
'Cause I've taken pictures and sold them on stock sites. I've sold pictures that we took at the Georgia Guidestones of just the Guidestones. But like if somebody bought one that we were in, then now somebody paid for that picture. They can do whatever the fuck they want to with it, right? They can turn it into a herpes ad if they want to. I can't say shit. Like, so
You think a lot of fucking like picture ads and stuff for products started with stock images
yeah.
that they just bought for $20 off of some generic stock website.
Huh. I never thought about it.
Number 3.
Hold on, I was listening to an old episode earlier today, y'all. And I don't know if you remember, but it was the Milli Vanilli and the mattress firm and all that. I was listening to that one for whatever reason. We decided that we were going to do a drunk theory drinking game. So anybody listening, if every time I burp, they have to take a drink.
Oh.
Every time Ryan passes out, they have to take a drink. Every time Matt throws up, they have to take a drink. And every time you mispronounce something, they have to
Oh,
take
shit.
I feel like somebody's gonna be pretty fucked up.
All right, 2015. Mr. Benoit Constant is his name. Used one of the same type of masks. He was a like 20-year-old, 20-ish, 25, 26, something like that, black man in North Carolina, and he bought one of the realistic masks for someone in their like 60s, baldish old white dude to completely fuck everybody over. Now he actually did his hands and did under the mask so he looked like what it was. They had no idea who it was. He robbed a credit union and possibly some other shit in North Carolina. But he had a partner, a girlfriend, who was driving a silver van. That van was seen nearer the scene of the crime, and they just started pulling over silver vans to see some shit. They pulled her over, not knowing, he didn't know, he was in Texas all the way trying to get away. She got pulled over. They found the mask that looks exactly like the video in the van, and some other shit, like a bag with a certain stripe that looks exactly like what he used to steal shit. So they arrested her, put a warrant out for him, and he got pulled over in Texas for some dumb traffic violation, and they saw the arrest warrant, and he got arrested after that shit because they had no idea who it was until they found the mask in her damn van. Goddamn.
My question is, why are these people not like getting rid of the mask after they commit the crime?
Because they want to do another robbery. That's the thing. They
Yeah,
always want
if it
more.
works.
But once people start looking like, no, that shit's going in the trash.
That's true. Throw it away and
Did
get
you know
another one. You know the mask still works.
Yeah.
Just get a different one. That'll work too.
And you can afford it because you just robbed some shit.
Right, yeah.
I've had a lot of shots fuck off.
I wish we were doing video
well,
for this one.
Look at how much I've drank out of this.
No,
Well,
I know.
That's a lot.
What was the name of that company, by the way, while you're taking a brief pause?
SPFX.
Okay, I want to see what they got.
There you go. All right. Now, number 4, my last one. Now, this isn't 100% a mask, silicone face prosthesis robbery, but most of the people that have seen the robberies think it's not an old man. So, the man is known as the Geezer Bandit. He has robbed
I
in
know this one.
SoCal 16 banks and gotten away. From 2008 or so till 2011 or 12 or so.
was
16 different fucking banks.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah.
I remember that shit like it was yesterday.
Yeah, it's just been forever.
And
So he
where was
robbed
that
all
at?
them. It's SoCal, somewhere in Southern California. So 16 banks, and he was estimated to be between 60 and 70 years old, 5'8", you know, just a nobody, whatever. But the very last video of him robbing a bank, they set off the ink. And that freaked him out. And according to most of the people that I've seen that are investigating it, if they've seen that video, he runs his ass out of that bank like an Olympic runner. So they think he's wearing a mask and doing really good to pretend he's old, but he's probably someone in his 20s or 30s that's gotten away with
It
for
could be
much
a
years.
woman.
And then
Yeah.
after that last one that they did it, they stopped completely.
Because he's smart.
Exactly. And it hadn't happened since like 2011, so that was it. The Geezer Bandit stopped, and everybody's like, maybe it's somebody else, but they have no idea because there's no evidence other than old man robs banks. That's all they've got.
Really, it's a surfer.
Yep. Goddamn
Yeah.
fucking Patrick Swayze.
$675.
And when the first guy bought it, it was like $1,200. Now they're $500-$600 for a good one.
That's $675 if you get it with the eyebrows.
There you go.
There's an option with no eyebrows.
Yes.
So that's all you got.
Yeah, 4. That's it for that.
My girlfriend tried to make me have sex on the hood of her Honda Civic. I refused. If I'm gonna have sex, it's gonna be on my own accord. You're welcome. What did one tampon say to the other?
What?
Nothing. They were both stuck up bitches.
So I am doing the Lufthansa Heist, and I'm super excited about this because I love the mob, and I will talk about the mob any chance I get. So you might have heard of this if you've ever seen Goodfellas, but I am taking most of my info from a book called The Lufthansa Heist, Behind the $6 Million Cash Haul That Shook the World. And that is by Henry Hill and Daniel Simone, and it was published in 2015. So, Lufthansa is Germany's largest airline, and it's the second largest airline in Europe. And the heist took place December 11th, 1978, at the Lufthansa cargo building at Kennedy Airport. So, this happened in New York. They made away with $6 million in cash and jewelry that was untraceable, small bills unmarked, and it was the biggest heist in U.S. history at the time. The current record for the biggest heist is now the Dunbar armored car robbery, which happened in L.A. in 1997, and they got away with, I believe it was $18.9 million. So, the money and jewelry from Lufthansa were never recovered. And this predominantly involves a faction of the Lucchese crime family, referred to as the Roberts Lounge Gang. And Roberts Lounge was owned by Jimmy the Gent Burke. So he and Henry Hill, who wrote the book that I just mentioned, they were involved in the planning. There was also Tommy DeSimone, Angelo Sepe, Frenchie McMahon, Joe Buddha Monry, Louis Cafora, and Paolo Lacastri, who was a Gambino hitman. And I will talk about why the Gambinos are involved in this in a little bit later. But they performed the heist. So you also have Parnell Stacks Edwards, who was a musician at Robert's Lounge. He was supposed to dispose of the van that they used in the heist. And then you have Frank Burke, who was Jimmy's son, who was supposed to transfer the money into a backup vehicle and drive it to a safe house to put the money. In terms of the planning, it started with Louis Werner, and he was an airport employee who owed about $20,000 to a dude named Marty Krugman. And Marty Krugman was a wig shop owner and small-time bookmaker, so this was $20,000 in gambling debt. So Louis presented the idea that they could rob the airport, and that would kind of wipe out his $20,000 debt. And he would kind of serve as the inside man for that job. Well, Marty didn't have the muscle or any of that to pull off a robbery of an airport with security and all that. So he took the idea to Henry Hill and Jimmy Burke, because they're the mob and they got muscle and guns and all of that shit. So that's how it started. Jimmy Burke selected the members of his crew that would pull off the heist. And then he set up a meeting with John Gotti. And John Gotti was a Gambino crime boss, so from another family. In exchange for about $200,000 of the cut, John Gotti gave them a warehouse where they could stash a car that would be their backup car, and gave them an area to make the transfer. So they're going to rob in this van, bring it to this warehouse, transfer the money. Stacks is supposed to take the van and dispose of it. He's taking it to a prearranged area to get it crushed, and Frank Burke is going to take the money in this other car somewhere else. The problems with that, so it was super obvious from the get-go that it was an inside job. Like, the robbers knew how many people were on shift, they knew when they would be on break, and Lufthansa was super secure. And they had lots of, like, silent alarms and all kinds of shit. And they knew how to get around all of that. So there was one thing where the robbers knew that they had to close the outer door to the vault before opening the inner door, because if they didn't, it would trip a silent alarm to the Port Authority. So they're like, only somebody who was on the inside would know that. Number two, Louis Werner was a fucker. So he was like suspect number one on everybody's mind. It was immediate. And also he talked a lot. So he'd even talked about, man, it'd be awesome if we robbed this place. It was like a no-brainer that he was involved in this shit. And like when the cops were there the next day, it was like, Louis Werner did this shit. Well, can you prove it? No, but he did this shit.
He fucking did it, man. I know
He's a fucker. So, you've got that. But you've also got Stacks. Stacks was an incompetent junkie. And he was supposed to take the van to a prearranged spot and get that shit crushed. Well, instead, what he did was, he's driving, and he's like, my girlfriend lives right over here, and she's probably got some coke, so I'm going to go stop at my girlfriend's house. Well, he ends up hanging out there for 2 fucking days at her apartment. The cops find the van. The van has, like, ski masks. It also has the IDs of all the people that were employees of the airport, because the robbers had taken that, like, as a threat. I know where you live, motherfucker. I've got... So, all of that shit was in the fucking van. They also had Stack's prints, right? So, at this point, you know, motherfuckers, you're about to get whacked. And they do. So, the first one to go is Stack's. He is shot and killed in his apartment on December 18th, 1978 by Tommy DeSimone and Angelo Sepe. Next up, Marty Krugman. So, he's hassling Jimmy Burke. He's like, I want my cut, give me my money. Because, you know, he's like, you wouldn't have had this deal if I hadn't come to you, if I hadn't brought you Lewis Warner. So, Jimmy Burke gets tired of that shit, and him and Angelo Sepe murder him on January 6, 1979. His body was never found, and he was declared legally dead in 1986. Up next, you have Louis and Joanna Kafora. So they were visited by the FBI in March of 1979. And when Louis said that he didn't have shit to do with the heist, the FBI played it off like they were relieved. They're like, oh, thank goodness. If you didn't have anything to do with it, then you and your family are safe. We just wanted to check on you and make sure you're all right. So then they leave and everything. They come back that night and start fucking around in his garage. Like, making noise and shit. So he immediately thinks that somebody's trying to set off a car bomb. Or, you know, trying to install a car bomb on his car. He calls the FBI the next day and it's like, I need protection, I'm ready to talk. Well, Angelo Sepe knows that the FBI visited, so now they have to get whacked too. So Louis and Joanna were presumably murdered. Their bodies were never found either. Then you have Joe Buddha Manry and Frenchie McMahon. They were both found dead in a parked car in May of 1979 together. Angelo Sepe and Paolo Lacastri shot them execution style in the back of the head. Teresa Ferrara. So she was an informant who was sleeping with Tommy DeSimone and also Lucchese mob boss Paul Vario. She disappeared in February 1979 after agreeing to testify about Lufthansa, because apparently Tommy would talk while they were in bed, so she knew a lot of shit.
So his pillow talk was
about all the shit that he robbed.
this one time.
Yeah.
Nice.
Her torso washed up on the Jersey shore in May of 1979, and she was identified by her breast implants. That's how they actually ID'd her.
Oh, yeah, because those things have, like, serial numbers or something, don't they?
Yeah.
That's fucking wild.
So, murders around this time that were actually unrelated to Lufthansa, Tommy DeSimone, he was supposed to become a made man, in the Lucchese family. Well, John Gotti thought that was straight fucking bullshit, because apparently Tommy had offed 2 of the Gambino crime family. And so he had to sit down with Paul Vario, who's the boss of the Lucchese's, and was like, this is fucking bullshit. You can't make him a made man. You gotta let me kill him. And
you gotta let me kill him.
Yeah, and Paul Vario is like, alright, so he gave him the green light to kill Tommy DeSimone. He disappeared in January of 1979. His body was never found either.
What do they be doing with all these bodies?
I don't know, the mob is good at fucking hiding people. Also, Paolo Lacastri, so he is the Gambino crew member who was supposed to be looking after Gotti's interest. He was dating Lena DiNapoli, who was the favorite niece of Bonanno crime boss Carmine Galenti. So he knocked her up and then refused to marry her. They found his naked and bullet-ridden corpse on a burning trash heap in June of 1979. Yeah, he was burnt to a crisp and full of bullets. Yeah, they're like, fuck you. So the arrest. Louis Werner. So he was arrested in February of 1979, and of course they offered him a deal. They're like, you know, tell us about what happened with Lufthansa. We know you were the inside man, just tell us. And he was like, it shut the fuck up Friday. He said nothing. He was like, I ain't saying fucking shit. He went through the trial, went through everything, and ended up being convicted on May 7th, 1979. He was sentenced to 15 years, did his time. He remains the only person convicted for the Lufthansa heist. And he died in 2007. I believe of natural causes. I couldn't find any reason for
In prison?
No, it wouldn't have been in prison. Also, Henry Hill. So, that's kind of how Goodfellas and all of that came about, is that Henry Hill got busted. So, he was arrested for drug trafficking in 1980. And the reason he got busted is Bobby Germain Jr., who was an 18-year-old weed dealer who was doing odd jobs at his fucking house.
Oh my god.
He got busted and was like, hey, I'll be an informant. And the dude I work for, I think he's hooked to the mob. So they used that to get wiretaps on the Hill's phones and shit like that. And then they had just like mountains and mountains of evidence that Henry Hill was dealing drugs to just about every fucking body. In the end, Angelo Sepe shot Bobby Germain Jr. in the face, you know, for ratting out Henry Hill. But in the meantime, Henry Hill entered the Federal Witness Protection Program. So they're like, we'll give you protection if you testify against all these mob fuckers. But because everybody that was involved in the Lufthansa heist was either dead or wouldn't fucking talk, because the only people that are still left alive are Henry Hill, Angelo Sepe, and Louis Werner. And they're not talking. There was no way to corroborate anything that Henry Hill said about Lufthansa, so they couldn't go any further with that. What they did was they had Hill testify about other crimes, like document forgery, gambling schemes, things like that. And due to Hill's testimony, Jimmy Burke and Paul Vario spent the rest of their lives in jail. So I think it said he testified like in like 5 different trials, you know, just on random shit, you know, against the mob fuckers. So after everybody that wanted to whack Henry Hill was dead, he kind of came out of hiding and became a celebrity. He toured and he gave speeches like at a whole shitload of high schools.
About what?
About how not to end up like him, I guess.
Oh, like he was a part of the DARE program.
He also co-wrote this book that I used as my source. He died of natural causes in 2012. And that is all I have.
That is fucking wild, man. That is, and I've seen Goodfellas. I like Goodfellas. I don't remember them robbing an airport in that movie. Is that what that whole movie's about? Because
No,
I don't
okay.
remember that being a thing.
Right. So because Hill wasn't actually at the airport for the robbery, the movie kind of skates around that. So it's kind of like what led up to it. So it talks about them planning it, and then it talks about after. So you see all the people getting whacked.
Okay, that's why they're getting whacked.
Yeah,
I missed
yeah.
that whole thing.
Yeah. And it's not super obvious. And in the movie, they change a lot of names. Some things are different. And it's kind of interesting because the only person who actually looks like the person they're supposed to be is Samuel L. Jackson is Stax. And I looked at the picture for Stax, and he looks just fucking like him. But Joe Pesci's character, like, is like a super tall, like, good-looking, like, actor dude, like, that looks nothing like him. But I keep picturing him as... Like,
I would like to know the story behind that. Like, what made them go for him? Apparently, he's the exact opposite. So, what made them go for... Or is it just because he was so cool at the time? Like, everybody loved Joe Pesci back then? I love him now.
Because when you make gangster movies, you always pick the people that play gangsters.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
Joe
typecast.
Pesci is amazing. And
Yeah,
and
I love him too. It's just...
While I was reading it, it was so hard not to picture him in that role.
Yeah.
But then when I saw the picture of the actual person, I'm like, wow,
I was
that's...
like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
So that's all you got?
That is all I got. Everybody gets whacked. That's the name of the episode. Everybody gets whacked.
Man, I thought I had it. So what I had was Gorillas Gone Wild, Bad Hand Jobs, and Incompetent Junkies. But then we got Getting Whacked, and we got Shut the Fuck Up Friday. I'm gonna have to listen back. And figure it out.
Yeah.
Alright, so promo this week, which fits fucking perfect, and I did just pull this out of my ass. Return to Oswald.
You know that show's over though, right?
No, I did not.
Now they're on Orphan Black.
Fuck me.
Yeah.
Oh well.
No promo this week, because fucking...
No, just fucking run that one.
Well, okay, yeah, because maybe y'all ain't never heard it, so...
Yeah, it's amazing. It's
Return
one
to
of my favorites.
Oswald, they rewatched fucking Oz, which was goddamn amazing. I fucking loved Oz so fucking much.
I love this show so much, I pay for their Patreon.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
So...
There's no rule that says you can only listen to current episodes of a
you're
podcast.
right.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true. I
you're
feel like
right.
an asshole now. So here is the promo for Return to Oswald. If you have not listened, listen. If you've already listened, fucking listen again.
I might listen because I do like us.
Fucking loved Oz.
I'm Derek, one of the hosts of Return to Oswald. Return to Oswald is a podcast about the iconic HBO show Oz. And we started it quite simply because my friend Brandon has never seen a single episode, and we loved living through its horror. Scar, Brandon, and myself get together every Tuesday and discuss this show, episode by episode, season by season. We have great conversations and nothing gets held back. We respect each other too much to lie. And we talk about how absurd this show really is when you look back at it. Like, how long is the time frame in Oz? People are getting executed within like 3 days of getting there. And why do they show people if they're just going to kill them within 8 minutes? That did happen. And why hire so many rappers to play bit roles? Is there a quota? Why is there a direct pipeline between this show, The Corner, and The Wire? Oh, and The Sopranos. We didn't forget about y'all. Also, how does Adebisi's hat stay on? Why didn't anybody ever notice he had a CD player in his drawers? And why won't they put cameras up in that gym? These are all questions we talk about, and more. So, check us out. Go to Linktree/HBO RTO to find our latest episode. You can also just type us into your favorite podcatcher. Thanks for checking us out.
That's me. Fucking role model.
But so I guess that's all we got. All right.
Gonna be talking about Polybius
That's right. We'll be joined by John Brooks.
and then going to Kansas to get an RV.
Yeah, we're going to pick up an RV so that we can go to Fyre Fest 2.0 in September. So for anybody who does not know, we spur of the moment just sporadically bought tickets to this thing called the Blue Ridge Rock Fest that is happening in Virginia in September. So we were like, fuck yeah, it's a fucking 4-day music festival. There's a fuck ton of people. We're like, hell yeah. Tickets are expensive as fuck, but we're like, fuck it, we'll do it. We'll drive to Virginia, it doesn't matter. And then I just want y'all to go in and Google what happened last year at fucking the Blue Ridge Rock Fest. So we're going to be making a trip to Kansas to pick up an RV.
Because apparently this whole town only has like 2 hotels. And they're
There's no
fucking
fucking hotels. And also, which I call horseshit, and I do want, anybody who listens to this, I want y'all to chime in. Because we have gone to festivals, multi-day festivals before, but we cannot remember. This one, they're saying you can't leave and come back unless you have a camping spot or an RV spot. Like if you just drive and park your car, you can't leave and go to McDonald's. You know, like once you're there, you're there. We're in our 40s, except for Matt over here, the young buck. I can't spend 17 hours out in the hot ass sun with 50,000 people listening to fucking Candlebox. Like I need to be able to leave.
Right.
So now we have to get an RV. Lucky for us, Aunt Jeannie, who we talk about all the time, has an RV.
Hey,
However,
Aunt Jeannie, she's
how-
listening.
Yeah, oh, she's listening. She's absolutely listening. But however, this RV is 16 hours away from us, so we have to drive 32 hours to pick up this RV
But-
to go to the Fyre Festival.
We should get Alicia to make us giant Drunk Theory logos to stick on the windows, and we could just make it a giant tour bus.
Hell yeah!
Oh
my God, she totally would. Too.
She would absolutely do it.
And you know what? If this fucking Fyre Festival, Blue Ridge Rock Fest doesn't turn out, we can just drive the RV
We
back
can go
home.
on a cross country tour.
I mean, fuck it, we're free for 4 days already, so
We could just pull up anywhere. People would think we were famous.
Bring your microphones, because that might be a thing that happens. We could come up to the generator, right? And we could just park in a Walmart parking lot and just do an episode. Oh my God.
We'd end up on like TikTok.
we're not going cross country, but we could do some East Coast
We
stuff
do some East Coast.
between South Carolina and Virginia, which is only North Carolina.
Do you have to go through Alabama to get to Virginia?
No.
God damn it, because I still want to go to the big fish town.
Well, if Virginia sucks, maybe we'll just turn around and go the other way.
Why don't you turn around and go to the big fish
Or we
town?
could plan a whole separate trip to the big fish town at another time.
Y'all,
Anything we can get within this 4-day period is okay.
so stay tuned for that.
Yeah.
We're going on.
We could say that we'll record something, but we know we will not.
We're going on tour. Oh my God, I wonder if we emailed them and told them that we were famous and had a
wait.
podcast.
Hold on. Once we get back, the RV will always be here, so we could go on tour
We could
any
start
other
doing,
time.
We could start doing tours. You know what we could start doing? We could start finding like concerts and just posting up at the nearest Walmart and being like, after the show, come by and see us.
No, you know
I
what?
thought you were
you-
going to say just ride in behind
No.
their tour bus.
We could try that and
That's
see.
where I'm going. You show up with the tour buses, they ain't gonna fucking know.
We're the opening act.
You know what those tour buses look like? The fucking RV we're going to get.
Oh,
They
man.
they just rent regular ass RVs.
Y'all, we got shit in the works.
We're scheming.
Fuck it.
I'm excited either way. I
Yeah.
mean, it's going to be fucking amazing.
It'll be a story.
We're going on
regardless.
tour.
We're going on tour. Drunk Theory Tour 2022. Check us out, man.
They're getting